Firing back at state regulators, the new lawsuit challenging a utility's request to charge customers for costs connected to the 2007 wildfires.
We were nervous that we were going to lose our golf course, number one. We were also nervous that we were going to end up with a blighted area like what happened in Escondido.
Trying to stop a developer's dreams from becoming a neighbor's nightmare, and voters who will weigh in on the project this fall.
I think what people are doing is they're taking a step back and saying, I value experiences over things.
Thinking big with small spaces, the alternative housing solution that may be redefining the American dream. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. San Diego released a report tracking progress on the city's climate action plan today. And KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says it's something of a mixed bag.
Mayor Kevin Faulconer presented the report flanked by city-owned hybrid cars and dump trucks that run on natural gas. The report found San Diego's greenhouse gas emissions are going down. They were 2% lower in 2016 than they were in 2015. Faulconer says the city is ahead of schedule.
This is steady progress that shows the actions that we are taking collectively as a city are making a difference.
But most of the progress in the report is thanks to state and federal programs, not local ones. Nicole Capritz of the nonprofit Climate Action Campaign says San Diego has to step things up.
So we're, grateful that the mayor has taken some steps in the right direction, but given the scope and scale of the climate crisis and what kind of future we are confronting, we need bolder, quicker action.
The city's goals of reducing car dependence are slipping further from reach. Public transit ridership is down, and the vast majority of commuters still drive to work. To see the evidence, look no further than the city employee parking lot near where the mayor held his press conference. It was full of cars, the biggest contributors to climate change in San Diego. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
A San Diego business owner is suing state regulators over their handling of SDGE's request to bill customers $379 million for the 2007 wildfires. KPBS investigative reporter Amita Sharma has details.
Ruth Hendricks has challenged SDGE's attempt in a trial to get approval to charge customers for the wildfire costs.
They are losing money, or they've lost some money, and they want to make up that loss by those of us who already are really strapped for paying our electric bills.
In August, judges ruled the company should not be allowed to recover those costs because it did not reasonably manage its facilities before the fires. Hendricks claims her due process rights are now being breached because the PUC is continuing to allow SDGE to argue its case to regulatory staff behind closed doors. The PUC has not yet responded to a request for comment. Amita Sharma, KPBS News.
The White House is backing off plans to review some of the most dangerous chemicals, including millions of tons of asbestos. AP reporter Mike Householder says it's connected to President Trump's new environmental policy.
Head-to-toe covering, a personal air monitor.
This is for the workers' protection.
Precautions George Regal and his workers take to remove ceiling tiles coated with asbestos.
You want to keep it away from your mouth, your nose, and your lungs.
Despite attempts to ban asbestos products in the late 80s, it remains in widespread use, found in structures across the U.S., including this basement near Detroit.
This is an important job because it's a high percentage amount.
This substance is at the center of a new Trump administration environmental policy. Instead of a comprehensive review of some of the most dangerous chemicals in public use, including asbestos, the White House is backing away from an Obama administration proposal and wants to limit that review to chemicals and products entering the marketplace. That means gauging the risks from just a few hundred tons of asbestos materials imported annually, while excluding the nearly 9 million tons of asbestos-containing products estimated to have entered the marketplace between 1970 and last year, the so-called legacy uses. Construction workers and firefighters who want more stringent regulations say the move jeopardizes their health.
The more funerals we go to, the more the realization hits home that you have to take care of yourself.
Tony Stefani is a former San Francisco firefighter who was diagnosed with cancer he believes resulted from exposure to chemicals.
Here's the full crew that went back to 9/11.
Stefani endured a year-long treatment before being declared cancer-free.
Then we send it to St. John, they freeze it.
Connie Kopp-Gillis also is hoping to beat back the multiple ailments she is dealing with.
I'm going to wrap it.
After being exposed to toxic substances while operating heavy machinery years ago.
4 of the men that worked on that site with me are dead. Cancer, dead. I thank God that I got to Dr. Harbert when I did.
Dr. Michael Harbert helped establish the criteria used by physicians for the diagnosis and treatment of asbestos-related diseases, such as mesothelioma.
I think that what the Trump administration is doing to protect people from toxic exposures, which can result in painful, humiliating, and ugly deaths, is reprehensible.
The Environmental Protection Agency policy review is the first step toward enacting new regulations lawmakers say are needed to protect the public. In a statement, the EPA says its actions are in line with the intentions of Congress, and that it does not have authority to regulate how private citizens handle asbestos in their homes. But critics contend excluding products already in use won't bring about stricter rules on asbestos and other dangerous chemicals.
You're going to see more deaths among the workers, you're going to see more deaths among the spouses, and you're going to see more delayed deaths and suffering among the kids.
Regal, a doctor who started a company that focuses on asbestos testing and abatement, says regardless of what's happening in Washington, he and his crews will continue to work to safely remove the dangerous material. Mike Householder, Associated Press, Howell, Michigan.
San Marcos is taking a stand against California's budding recreational marijuana industry. The city council has unanimously approved an ordinance outlining marijuana dispensaries, cultivation, and delivery within city limits. KPBS North County reporter Allison St. John says the measure is the city's way of getting ready for the legalization of recreational pot next year.
San Marcos is making its existing moratorium into a permanent ordinance banning all commercial activities surrounding pot.
I really think the right thing to do is not to have dispensaries in the city of San Marcos. You already get 6 plants in your house. I mean, if that's not enough for recreation, that's plenty, I think, for a year or more.
Mayor Jim Desmond asked Wendy House of the city attorney's office about marijuana delivery services.
And then the delivery trucks can come from someplace outside of the city of San Marcos, make their delivery in San Marcos.
No, they can drive through San Marcos to make their delivery in Vista, but they cannot make their delivery in San Marcos.
Oh, we can't make them drive around?
In fact, it's also illegal to deliver medicinal marijuana in Vista, though the city of Oceanside does permit delivery of medicinal marijuana from out-of-town dispensaries. The Encinitas City Council recently decided to put an initiative on next year's ballot to let voters decide how to regulate commercial activity. It'll be a challenge to keep up with the different laws in the different cities. So far, the City of San Diego City Council is the only one in the county to legalize and regulate cultivation, testing, distribution, and sale of marijuana starting in January. Allison St. John in the KPBS North County Bureau.
When refugees and other newcomers arrive in San Diego, some bring engineering, medical, or other specialty certifications. But because of credentials needed in America, they may be stuck in low-paying roles outside their fields. KPBS reporter Taryn Minto says a first-of-its-kind event Thursday hopes to fill this void.
And specifically for this, we're searching for somebody that is an Arabic.
That's Michelle Hayes with the Cajon Valley Union School District talking about an open position for a classroom aide. She says a refugee who taught in their home country would be a great fit.
Their language skills are essential in providing the support for our students, and they have the unique experience in order to support the special needs of our kiddos that are out there that are acclimating to a new environment.
But Hayes says the gig is more than just a job. It's a pathway to a teaching career in the U.S.
And so we're trying to connect with them on ways that they can go about getting a teaching credential, having their transcripts transcribed, and finding out what classes that they still need in order to achieve a teaching credential for us.
It's these kinds of opportunities that organizers plan to feature at the first Skilled and Foreign Credentialed Newcomers Job and Resources Expo.
We have an issue of marketing our skills. That's why we're trying to bring everyone together.
That's Mohammed Tawama, the organizer of the event that connects foreign professionals with employers.
Is to tell the community, the mainstream community, employers, training providers, that newcomers, a lot of them have skills. And those skills are really needed by the local workforce.
The Iraqi refugee founded the nonprofit Newcomer Support and Development several years ago to provide certified immigrants with resources to meet American requirements. He says he has hundreds of experienced workers available, from healthcare professionals, teachers, and IT workers to a few lawyers and plenty of engineers.
Hi, my name is Femi Dawood. I have a master's degree in geotechnical engineering.
What we're trying to do is to have them actually listen to those people, interview them, meet with them, or actually have them do something, like on-the-job training or any other opportunities, so they can know that person is really needed.
The event kicks off at 10 a.m. at the Ronald Reagan Community Center in El Cajon. Taryn Mento, KPBS News.
Filipino veterans of World War II were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal today, 75 years after they joined the U.S. to defeat Japan. More than 250,000 Filipino soldiers served in the war, including more than 50,000 who died in the fight. After the war ended, President Harry Truman signed laws that stripped away promises of benefits and citizenship for the Filipino veterans. Celestino Alameda is a 100-year-old veteran of World War II.
I have waited along with my Filipino and American soldiers for this moment to come. After the war, thousands of us felt underappreciated and unrecognized for fighting for our country.
The Congressional Gold Medal is the nation's highest civilian award. Today's ceremony took place at the Capitol.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, Miles O'Brien travels to Cuba to uncover why the island is home to a rich mix of rare animals. That's Wednesday on the PBS News Hour.
Well, San Diego has a different definition for autumn weather as temperature records fall across the county for the third straight day. Erin Calandra has more in tonight's forecast.
Our hot and dry conditions continue today, but luckily our excessive heat warning, it's still in place as of right now. But at 8 o'clock tonight, that's when this is going to expire. So it's still very hot here today, especially along the coast and also in the inland regions. But again, that expires tonight at 8 o'clock, and then slowly we are going to see some improvements. Taking a look at the southwest, it's pretty dry. It has been, as we know, for the last week or so, very hot, very dry, and also some gusty winds. Those winds are also dying down, so that red flag warning that we have been under is now lifted. So tonight, 66 degrees with a clear sky, and across the region, Oceanside a low of 54, Poway 61, Ramona 53, and Alpine 56. Borrego Springs coming in at 62 degrees. On Thursday, well, the Santa Ana is finally over, so we will have some improvement. Not quite as hot, still above average, though. We do have a cold front to the east and to the north of us. That's going to be cooling things down in that region. For us tomorrow, Oceanside 85 degrees and sunny, San Diego 81, Poway 95, and Ramona 93, Mount Laguna 75, and keep in mind San Diego, we should be in the low 70s this time of year, so 81 is still well above average, just nothing like we have seen the last few days. Taking a look nationally, we have this big dip in the jet stream, so that means the northern plains and also the Midwest all the way down to the Gulf. We are going to see much cooler temperatures. It's going to be a wet one this weekend here all along the East Coast. We have a system that's just kind of pumping some moisture and some rain in all the way from the south. So here we are along the coast the next couple of days. It's going to stay sunny and warm. Temperatures this weekend in the 80s. Sunday, we drop down to the 70s, and by Monday, we're back to normal. 74 for the high. Inland, we're in the 90s, 95 Thursday, and then by Sunday, we drop down to the 80s. By Monday, not as warm, a high of 81. In the mountains, well, that's the place to be if you want some cooler temperatures. We're in the 70s, Monday in the 60s, and then sunny skies in the deserts, temperatures in the 90s, Monday down to the 80s. For KPBS News, I'm Erin Calandra.
It may soon cost more to enjoy some of the country's most popular national parks. Entry fees could increase by as much as 300% under a proposal by the National Park Services. It says the higher fees would bring an extra $70 million a year and pay for a backlog of maintenance and infrastructure projects. Visitors to the nation's 17 most popular national parks will be affected, including Joshua Tree, Yellowstone, and Sequoia National Parks. The public has the opportunity to comment on the increases through November 23rd. Just go to nps.gov and click on the link on the homepage. The median price of a home in San Diego County was more than $500,000 last month. The price point may have some families looking for alternatives. One reality TV show highlights families who give up most of their possessions to live the tiny home lifestyle.
What I like about tiny homes is what it can do for the individuals that decide to go tiny.
The porch, oh my gosh.
Where is all this emotion coming from?
John Weisbarth helps families make a big change in their lives by going tiny with their homes.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
I'm the psychiatrist on the show. Not trained, but that's certainly the job I end up doing. And yeah, I really work with the families to help them with that transition from 2,500 square feet to 250 square feet. You know, what that means is you have to get rid of 90% of your stuff.
He's teaming up with Tiny Home Central to introduce San Diego to the benefits of the tiny house lifestyle. Tiny Home Central chairwoman Ellen Stone says these homes can really make a difference with people in the mental health system.
You know, a lot of them are in very, very limited budget situations. There are people on disability. They're really only bringing in $700 to $900 a month.
She says Tiny Home Central wants to start a dialogue about these homes with alternative housing workshops this weekend at the Arctoberfest in San Diego.
The dark secret about tiny houses is that in most places in this country, they're not, strictly speaking, legal. And that is something that's changing. And there is legislation and zoning that has changed right here in California.
There may also be concerns from neighbors about how tiny homes could affect the look and feel of their communities.
I visited a group of tiny homes in Portland recently, and the gentleman who designed them did just that. He really took a look at the neighborhood. There were a lot of kind of craftsman-style homes, and he worked really hard to express that within the building that he did, and all the neighbors love it. They actually come by and get excited and want to have tours.
And I think what people are doing is they're taking a step back and saying, I value experiences over things. And if I'm working 40, 50, 60 hours a week for this big house that I'm never in, for my family that I never see, is that the American dream? Or do I scale back what my expenses are by cutting down what my home expense is, and then live a life that is more rewarding, more true to how I feel? And a lot of people are saying, yeah, that's the American dream for me. And it's a powerful thing.
Tiny Home Central will host workshops during Arctoberfest this weekend. People will be able to step inside tiny homes on display Friday and Saturday at the Market Creek Plaza on Euclid and Market. We have a link for more information at kpbs.org. The only city in San Diego County going to the polls this November 7th is Poway. Poway has a special election, Measure A, paid for by a developer who wants to build condos on his golf course. KPBS North County reporter Allison St. John says Poway is notorious for blocking new development, and the developer has trust issues to overcome.
The StoneRidge golf course in Poway is owned by Michael Schlesinger, the developer notorious for spreading 5 tons of chicken manure 2 years ago on the Escondido Country Club golf course that he also wants to develop. The battle over the Escondido golf course continues. The now dried-up greens a stark reminder to Poway of what could be their fate if the developer does not get his way. Poway resident Mike Steller is an avid golfer.
They're all St. Andrews.
They're all St. Andrews lakes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The St. Andrews logo graces his golf club covers.
We were nervous that we were going to lose our golf course, number one,
We were also nervous that we were going to end up with a blighted area like what happened in Escondido.
Stella is with Poway Open Space, a citizens group that negotiated a deal with Michael Schlesinger to allow a zoning change that would permit 180 condominiums to be built on 15 acres of the 117-acre golf course. In return, the full 18-hole golf course would be redesigned with a brand new clubhouse.
We also were realistic enough to understand that the money had to come from someplace. And so we set out on our goal was to develop as little of the course as possible, still allowing the owner to make his profits, but keep our golf course intact.
The agreement in hand, Poway Open Space collected the signatures to put Measure A, a citizens' initiative, on the ballot. However, the developer, Schlesinger, paid the city of Poway the $400,000 it cost to put on a special election. Schlesinger did not make himself available. Sarah Ellis is his spokeswoman.
Michael put together a team, which included Cal Atlantic and the golf course architect, to work with the citizens to put together a land use plan, a preliminary land use plan. But this really is their plan. It's not Michael's plan, it's their plan.
Ellis says Poway residents will not actually be voting on this plan. The initiative simply rezones some of the golf course so it could be developed.
So that's what this initiative does. It only rezones and then gives the city the opportunity to start having the conversation with the community about what to do here.
The problem with this project is that it would have to overcome people's fear of not just denser development, but also a lack of trust of this particular developer.
We've looked up some of the other developments, golf course-related developments that he's done, and it's been nothing but grief for the people around him.
Brian Edmonston is part of the No on A campaign. Edmonston says Schlesinger owns golf courses all over California and is in ugly battles with homeowners, not just in Escondido, but in places like Fallbrook, Las Vegas, and San Ramon. Edmonston says the Poway golf course plan is just a promise. All the initiative does is remove the open space zoning from the south end of the golf course.
It's an off-year election vote that it does nothing more than rezone it with a vague promise of a golf course. And after that, it's every man for himself fighting over exactly what will be put up here.
Like many cities in San Diego, Poway has resisted new development. The last Regional Housing Needs Assessment says Poway needs to build 1,253 homes by 2020. The city's development director, Bob Manis, says since 2010, the city has actually built just 194 units. He says the city has not permitted any multifamily housing in decades. Last year, the Poway City Council controversially rejected a plan to build 22 affordable housing units for veterans. That decision caused many onlookers to throw up their hands in despair at the city's refusal to agree to new affordable housing. The housing Schlesinger is proposing to build is not affordable. It is luxury condos for seniors. Steller says he's not thinking about the need for new housing. He's just glad the golf course will be preserved.
It's been a tough road to get here. I think we've got the best deal we can get.
Edmonston notes Steller lives on the north end of the existing golf course, which is not part of the land to be rezoned under the initiative.
It's the golfers and residents on the north side who are pushing this because they want to keep their golf course at the expense of the residents and the golfers on the south side, because that's where all the condos will go.
Poway Open Space has already spent at least $200,000 on their campaign, while the no voters have not raised enough money to file a statement with the registrar. The battle over StoneRidge is the latest round in a land use struggle that's likely to affect golf courses around the region as golf club memberships decline and the need for more housing becomes increasingly urgent. Alison St. John, KPBS News.
Oceanside officials announced plans for a new soccer stadium today. The 10,000-seat facility will be home to San Diego's new professional soccer team, the 1904 Football Club. It will be in the SoCal Sports Complex at El Corazon Park, where there are already fields for soccer, rugby, and lacrosse. The team hopes to begin play in March in the North American Soccer League. The Oceanside facility is expected to be completed in 2 years. Until then, the team plans to play at USD Toreros Stadium. The music of Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Antoine Fats Domino is being remembered. The pianist and singer died today.
Found my thrill
Domino was a best-selling singer in the 1950s and 60s with a string of hit singles. The New Orleans-born performer was known for exciting audiences by standing up as he played. He's credited with influencing generations of musicians. Rolling Stone even named Fats one of the 100 greatest artists of all time. He was 89 years old. And Emmy Award-winning actor Robert Guillaume is also being remembered today after passing away Tuesday. The actor was introduced to a national audience in the late 70s as a character on the sitcom Soap. He went on to play Benson, a witty, lovable butler who outsmarted just about everyone. More recently, he was the voice of Rafiki in Disney's Lion King. His family confirms he battled prostate cancer. He was 89 years old. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. And we'll leave you with more from rock legend Fats Domino's I'm Ready. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.